Hey folks, welcome back to the farm. Today's video we're going to talk about the best breeds for your backyard. And whether you're new to chicken keeping or you're a seasoned veteran, choosing the correct breed is going to make all the difference in the world. And I've kind of thought about the several different categories or thoughts on that. You got to know, what purpose do you want chickens for? Do you want them just for eggs? You want for eggs and meat, or just for meat? And I'm not going to talk about just for meat, because that's a whole different category of chickens. So I run quite a few dual purpose birds here. I also run just some production type for egg laying. So you need to decide what you want. If you think after they're a couple, 3 or 4 years after they've laid, if you're going to eat them like a stewed chicken or something like that, get a dual purpose. If you're going to run them out and then kind of keep them as a pet or sell them, kind of like we do, then you got a lot of options to think about. I mean, next thing you need to think about is your size and space that you have. So if you're going to have to keep them in a static coop, you don't want to overcrowd that coop. And if you're living in a neighborhood, you can only have so many by law. So that's the next consideration. And some chickens do better in confined spaces than others. So go to a like a hatchery page, and they'll tell you, have a whole list of chickens and their characteristics and stuff like that, and they'll tell you if they're good for confinement or they're good for free range, or they're both. Like I run both. So that's something else to consider about your size and the size of your area and what kind of containment you're going to have. And if you decide that you just want eggs, if you want to kind of go to that same page, and they'll tell you how many eggs they produce or lay a year. Like a buff Orpington will lay 200 a year, and a Rhode Island Red will lay about 240 or 240, something like that. So there's a little bit of different things in there that you can think about. A straight production will lay about between 280 and 320 a year. So I don't have any in this flock. This is all dual purpose here. I'll talk about some of my favorites, but in the other flock, let's go over there and I'll show you a straight production chicken. That's my production chicken here. It's an Isa Brown. They'll lay, I think, about 320 eggs a year, and they've been laying their powerhouses. So you need to think about that. And they don't take a whole lot of food. So if you just want some eggs, that's a good breed to have. They are a little flighty, and I'll get to that in my next little segment, but that's the production type. The rest of these are dual purpose, those Orpingtons and Barred Rocks, and I got some Americanas in there. So we consider those dual purpose. In my last category, I'm going to call it temperament, and what I mean by that, they're not, which ones are flighty and which ones are not. So if you've got kids, and like when our kids were little, we had them do chores and they'd come out here and feed the chickens. Well, the Orpingtons, they won't fly up. They'll just sit there and wait on their food. But Rhode Island Reds, some of your production chickens, like these Isa Browns will do it. A red sex link will do it. Stuff like that, they'll jump up and it kind of scare your kids. So that's something to think about. The Orpingtons are really calm. The Americanas are really calm. So, and I would consider that. The Barred Rocks, I've had some that are calm and some that will jump up. So that's a hit or miss there. But I've never had a Orpington hardly jump up at all. That's one of the reasons I like them. That's one of my favorite chickens. So to talk about my favorite breeds, and this has changed a little bit, because if you go back maybe a year ago, I did my top 5. My top ones now are still the Orpington, the buff Orpington. That's my favorite chicken. And if I just had one chicken that I had to stay with, that's what I would get. My second favorite is these Americanas. They're real calm. They don't jump up, and they lay pretty good. I like the Barred Rocks because I like their colors and stuff like that. I got a New Hampshire over there. I like it because they're pretty calm. Rhode Island Reds, I can take or leave. I like the Isa Browns because of the egg production. So that's some of my favorites, and that's something you can keep in mind. I also like to experiment. That's why my list changes. I've got some different breeds coming in here. I got a whole bunch of more Isa Browns. I've got about 70 of those chicks coming. And I got some amber links. I ain't never raised any of those, so we're gonna try those. And I got some buff Barred Rocks. It's supposed to be a combination of a Barred Rock and another Cornish something, I can't remember, a Leghorn, and they're supposed to be high production. So we're gonna try them, and I'll give you an update on them at the end of the summer probably. And I also got some Rhode Island Reds coming chicks, and we're gonna raise those up and sell those. So that's pullets. So hope it's helped out a lot. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment. Just kind of some of my thoughts about this. You know, I know a lot of people's thinking about it, and main thing, don't overthink it. You know, just get a good, calm, dual-purpose bird, and you can't go wrong either way. So anyway, give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. We appreciate you watching the video, and remember to support your local farmer, and we'll see you down here in the farm in the next video.